upon a time a witch loved stories galore, and greedy as she was, she wanted more and more. When she saw that the librarian had stories of all kinds, she said, "I'll capture you, all your stories will be mine." There took place a curious chase through meadow, tree, and flower, till at last they ended up right at the witch's tower. Now poor Marian, the librarian, a prisoner she'll stay, until the witch is happy and lets Marian go away.
Hello. Today I want to get a story for Kerfumbly that will teach her to keep her promises and to let me go. Now, this is an egg, a very special egg that Maisie laid. But Maisie doesn't want to sit on her egg until it hatches. Now, this is Horton. Horton promised Maisie that he would sit on her egg until it hatched. And Horton always keeps his promises 100%. So let's turn the machine on. Oh, this is it. Now, let's go call Kerfumbly. I want to be sure she hears this story. Left and right and Zachary Zoo, here's a story just for you.
Oh, a story so soon? Does it teach a lesson?
I certainly hope so. Sit down, Kerfumbly. I want to read this story to you. The name of the story is Horton Hatches the Egg. Dr. Seuss wrote this story. Sighed Maisie, a lazy bird hatching an egg. I'm tired, and I'm bored, and I've kinks in my leg from just sitting here day after day. It's work. How I hate it. I'd much rather play. If I could find someone, I'd fly away, free. Then Horton, the elephant, passed by her tree. "Hello," called the lazy bird, smiling her best. "You've nothing to do, and I do need a rest. Would you like to sit on the egg in my nest?"
I can't. I just can't do that.
"Please," begged the bird. "I won't be gone long, sir. I give you my word. I'll hurry right back. Why, I'll never be missed."
Very well, very well. Since you insist, you want a vacation, go fly off and take it. I'll sit on your egg and I'll try not to break it. I'll stay and be faithful. I mean what I say.
"Toodaloo!" sang out Maisie and fluttered away.
The first thing to do, let me see. The first thing to do is to prop up this tree and make it much stronger. That has to be done. Before I get on it, I must weigh a ton.
Then carefully, tenderly, gently he crept up the trunk to the nest where the little egg slept. And he sat all that day, and he kept the egg warm, and he sat all that night through a terrible storm.
I wish she'd come back, 'cause I'm cold and I'm wet. I hope that Maisie bird doesn't forget.
But Maisie by this time was far beyond reach, enjoying the sunshine way off in Palm Beach, and having such fun, such a wonderful rest, decided she'd never go back to her nest. So Horton kept sitting there day after day, and soon it was autumn. The leaves blew away. And then came the winter, the snow and the sleet, and icicles hung from his trunk and his feet. But Horton kept sitting and said with a sneeze,
I'll stay on this egg, and I won't let it freeze. I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. An elephant's faithful 100%.
So poor Horton sat there the whole winter through. And then came the springtime with troubles anew. His friends gathered round and they shouted with glee, "Oh, look, Horton the elephant up in a tree!" They laughed and they laughed, Then they all ran away, and Horton was lonely. He wanted to play, but he sat on the egg and continued to say,
I bet what I said, and I said what I bet. An elephant's faithful 100%.
For while Horton sat there so faithful and kind, 3 hunters came sneaking up softly behind. He heard the men's footsteps. He turned with a start. 3 rifles were aiming right straight at his heart. Did he run? He did not. Horton stayed on that nest. He held his head high, and he threw out his chest, and he looked at the hunters as much as to say,
Shoot if you must, but I won't run away. I bet what I said, and I said what I bet. An elephant's faithful 100%.
But the men didn't shoot. Much to Horton's surprise, they dropped their 3 guns, and they stared with wide eyes. Look! They all shouted. Can such a thing be? An elephant sitting on top of a tree? It's strange. It's amazing. It's wonderful. New. Don't shoot him. We'll catch him. That's what we'll do. Let's take him alive. Why, he's terribly funny. We'll sell him back home to a circus for money. And the first thing he knew, they had built a big wagon with ropes on the front for the pullers to drag on. They dug up his tree and they put it inside, with Horton so sad that he practically cried. We're off, the men shouted, and off they all went, with Horton unhappy 100%. Up out of the jungle, up into the sky, up over the mountains 10,000 feet high. Then down, down the mountains and down to the sea went the cart with the elephant, egg, nest, and tree. Then out of the wagon and onto a ship, out over the ocean, and oh, what a trip! Rolling and tossing and splashed with the spray. And Horton said day after day after day,
I bet what I said, and I said what I bet. But oh, am I seasick 100%.
After bobbing around for 2 weeks like a cork, they landed at last in the town of New York. All ashore, the men shouted, and down with a lurch went Horton the elephant, still on his perch, tied onto a board that could just scarcely hold him. Bump! Horton landed, and then the men sold him. Sold to a circus. Then week after week they showed him to people at 10 cents a peek. And everywhere thousands of folks flocked to see and laugh at the elephant up in a tree. Poor Horton grew sadder the farther he went, but he said as he sat in the hot, noisy tent,
I bet what I said, and I said what I bet. An elephant's faithful 100%.
Then, one day, the circus show happened to reach a town way down south, not so far from Palm Beach. And dawdling along way up high in the sky, who, of all people, should chance to fly by but that old good-for-nothing bird Runaway Maisie, still on vacation and still just as lazy. And spying the flags in the tents just below, she sang out, What fun! Why, I'll go to the show! And she swooped from the clouds through an open tent door. Good gracious, gasped Maisie. I've seen you before. Poor Horton looked up with his face white as chalk. He started to speak, but before he could talk, a thumping, a bumping, a wild alive scratching.
My egg! It's my egg! It's my egg! Why, it's hatching!
But it's mine! Screamed the bird when she heard the egg crack. The work was all done. Now she wanted it back. It's my egg, she sputtered. You stole it from me. Get off of my nest and get out of my tree. poor Horton backed down with a sad, heavy heart. But at that very instant, the egg burst apart, and out of the pieces of red and white shell from the egg that he'd sat on so long and so well, Horton the elephant saw something whiz. It had ears and a tail and a trunk just like his. And the people came shouting, "What's all this about?" They looked and they stared with their eyes popping out. "My goodness! My gracious!" they shouted. "My word! It's something brand new. It's an elephant bird." And it should be. It should be. It should be like that. Because Horton was faithful. He sat and he sat. He meant what he said, and he said what he meant. And they sent him home happy, 100%.
He meant what he said, and he said what he meant. An elephant's faithful 100%. That's the lesson, Kerfumbly. Do you understand it?
Well, let me think about it. He meant what he said. What did Horton say he would do? He said he would sit on Maisie's eggs. What did he do that was faithful 100%? Oh, yes, he sat on that egg. Even in the winter, even when he was captured, even in the circus. So, Marion, the story teaches us that if we say we're going to do something, we should do it no matter what.
That's right. And you said that if I got you a story, you would let me go on to the library. But you don't keep your promises.
I do, too.
No, you don't. I'm still here after 28 stories.
All right, Marion. I'll prove to you that I mean what I say. I'll let you go right now if you can rhyme 3 words.
Oh, that's wonderful, Kerfumbly. What are the words?
All right, what rhymes with car?
Car. Car. Star. Car, star. They rhyme.
Oh, yes, well, that was very good. What rhymes with potato?
Potato. Potato, tomato. Potato, tomato. They rhyme.
Oh, well, that was very good, too. Oh, what rhymes with encyclopedia?
Encyclopedia? Well, I can't think of anything that rhymes with encyclopedia.
Oh, well, that's too bad, Marion. I can't let you go then. I said I would let you go if you rhymed 3 words, and you only rhymed 2.
Oh, Kerfumbly, you don't play fair. Encyclopedia is too hard to rhyme.
Now, Marion, don't feel bad. You still have a good chance to get out of here if you'll just get me the right story. How about a story with rhyming words?
A story with rhyming words. Would you be looking for a story like that? Oh, good. And I'll meet you here next time.
Once upon a time, a witch loved stories galore, and greedy as she was, she wanted more and more. When she saw that the librarian had stories of all kinds, she said, "I'll capture you, all your stories will be mine." There took place a curious chase through meadow, tree, and flower, till at last they ended up right at the witch's tower. Now poor Marion, the librarian, a prisoner she'll stay, until the witch is happy and lets Marion go away.